Hello everyone, we are Geeks Not Nerds, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince!
And today we're talking about fame.
Not Pink Floyd.
Oh, we're okay, just fame?
Fame.
Yeah. Was that a Pink Floyd song?
I think so. Fame! I don't know the words to that song.
Yeah, I couldn't go any farther than that, yeah. Anyway, so today Vince and I are going to talk about whether or not we would like to be famous.
I'm a cat.
Cha-ching! And if we think fame would agree with us, is being like a celebrity something that you think you would enjoy? Is it something that you think you could adapt to? Is it harder? Is it a lot harder than the rigors of everyday normal blue collar life? What is being a famous person like? And this is a thing that I think years ago we talked about just a little bit, and I thought it'd be fun to do a whole video on, because it's something I think about sometimes, because I mean, being here on YouTube, and having, a little following here, we have like a tiny minuscule taste of it, Vince, where, we're kind of public figures, sort of, in our community here, and I have been called internet famous, although I don't even think I would go that far. But it is a thing I thought out before. It's kind of hard not to. Once you start like building a bit of a following, and people people that you don't know who you are. Mm-hmm. And if you're like me and you have maybe a little tiny bit of an ego, it's hard, you think about it sometimes, would fame be a thing that you really would want? And I think, I'm going to start here, I think a lot of people think they want to be famous, and they haven't thought it through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure that people want to be famous, but they want to be, sought after, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they want to be, and I don't mean, all the time. I think what people want is the recognition when they want it. That's what they really want. I'm not sure that people want to be in the public eye all the time. Or maybe they think I think a lot of people think they do, but then once they get there, and it's like anything, right? Where so many things, you want it right now, but then once you have it, you either don't care about it anymore, it's like a shattering disillusionment, it's not as cool as you thought it would be, it's not everything that it was cracked up to be, or it's just, you've been there, you've done that, and now you can see the negative side to it. I wonder if maybe it has something to do with what you're famous for. If I was famous and people were interested in what I was doing, mm-hmm. that's one thing. As opposed to how I was living my life, that would annoy the crap out of me.
Yeah, sure.
You don't need to know if I'm going to have a kid. Let's say there's a fictitious couple out there like Brad and Angelina, and people mm-hmm. are just terribly interested in who they're adopting and what they're doing together in their personal lives. And you know what? I feel like as a human being, as a child of the universe, I don't care. I don't understand why people give a crap.
And we've talked about this before. There's a certain amount of, it's none of my business.
Yeah, I don't care what Joe Schmo down the street's doing, so why do I care what Joe Schmo in that movie is doing?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like it's almost even kind of wrong of me to care too much about anybody's person, and not care, but pry into.
Yeah. Because how different is it than just saying, I really like that actor, I want to know what they do behind the scenes, as opposed to saying, you know what, that server at that restaurant is the best server I've ever known. I want to know what she does during the night.
Yeah.
That's creepy as hell.
Yeah. Well, it borders on obsession.
Yeah.
And, being interested and being, being interested and being curious and prying into other people's business are two very different things. Mm-hmm. So when somebody goes, on an interview, a really famous person does an interview and is willing to tell you things about themselves, I'm very interested in what a person is willing to tell me. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel the need to know every single thing about a person and what they're having for breakfast. Although these days, with Facebook and Twitter, there are a lot of people who will willingly tell you that, even if you don't want to know, even if you don't care. But that's a whole different subject. but anyway, so I guess the question is, if you get famous enough, if you are an Angelina Jolie, or you're a Michael Jackson, or you're what's a current one going, Bill Cosby. If you're one of these people, is the fame, the recognition, the fan base, your place in popular culture, your legacy, the fact that you will be remembered forever, is it worth it?
You know what?
Would it be worth it personally to you? And that's really the question I want to...
I'm largely, I'm a fairly social guy, but I'm kind of a private guy.
You're kind of a private person, yeah.
Because, there are very few people that I will open up to. I'll treat you like a friend. I'll be nice to you. But, you know what? I would like to think that I would handle fame kind of like Kevin Smith does, where people would come in and say, like, oh, hey, you're Kevin Smith, and then, you're super nice to him. Like, yeah, thanks for liking my stuff. But I suppose that's easy to say for a chubby famous guy, because people aren't trying to get in your pants.
That's a good point.
Well, yeah. That's not wholly true, but people aren't trying to get into your pants drawer like they would with, some famous starlet.
Well, and I'll say this. I think it's, and maybe I'm off base here, but I don't think I am. I would imagine. I guess I'm putting this caveat on because I can't know because I'm male. But I would imagine that it would be a lot harder to be a very attractive female superstar than a very attractive male superstar.
Well, because I feel like people would be prying into your life more. And I kind of feel like that.
And maybe not, but maybe in like creepier or weirder or worse in some ways. I don't know. I imagine if I were a woman, it would potentially be a lot worse to be a superstar. But then I look at people like Tom Cruise, and I wouldn't want to be Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be that famous. I don't know.
Like, even what he believes in, he gets scrutinized for. And I'm not saying that I fall one way or another. We're not going to get into that stuff.
Yeah, but, and I haven't even looked into that, so.
But there are things that I think are silly, but that's okay. I'm not going to say one way or another.
Well, it's okay. I think you're silly too, Vince, but I can respect you enough to, hang out with you and be your friend. And
you can believe what you want.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's not about belief. It's more about just your goofy hat, really.
That did not come off.
No, you improved it, though. I'm just kidding.
Home slice.
So speaking of pizza,
so do you feel like fame would agree with you?
I don't know. I've always been on the fence about it. I've always been really back and forth. I've always been a pretty outgoing public kind of person. I kind of wear my life on my sleeve. I don't tend to keep a lot of things close to the vest. I don't tend to I don't know. I'm a very I guess I'm somewhat the opposite of you. You're a pretty private person. I'm a pretty not private person. I tend to tell people about a lot of stuff. I don't mind. I guess to a degree I don't mind living pretty publicly. And there's always been just like you, I like to entertain people. But I think that see, I don't want to put words in your mouth right now, but I feel like you and I have had conversations before where you've told, if I'm not giving too much about you personally away right now, I feel like we've had conversations, Vince, where you've told me that you kind of use like acting and improvisation and stuff like that as a kind of a catharsis.
I do feel like that. I do, and to put your mind at ease, when I first meet a person, and I think this is true of a lot of people, but I'm just feel like I'm acutely aware of mine. When you do first meet a person, you're not yourself. You're wearing a mask.
Oh yeah, sure.
And you know what? I find that
to a degree you always are.
Indeed. And my mom once told me something, and I'm going to bring it around. Here we go. So my mom once told me something that all it takes to make another person's day better is a smile.
Break it down now.
So, yeah, it's corny. She said that to me, and I took it to heart. And you know what? I walk into a patient's house, because for those of you who don't know, I'm in physical therapy. I do home health, so I'm not just randomly showing up to people's houses. They know I'm coming. Anyway, so I go to a patient's house.
That's what I do. I just pretend like I'm with Publishers Clearinghouse. And
hi, can we come in and do therapy? You're with Publishers Clearinghouse? Yes!
Yeah.
Let's do therapy.
Yeah. You just want a year's supply of eggnog. It's only around for 30 days a year, so you get it for the next 10 years.
You get it all at once, and we're not going to give you something to refrigerate it with. Unfortunately, you live in California. So,
wow, this
for
is
Alaska, it'd be a lot easier.
Is this one of those, is it a superpower or is it a curse kind of questions?
Like, well, it looks like I have about 8 hours worth of eggnog I can use.
I guess it's time to throw a party with a lot of mistletoe.
Everybody show up. We're turning the river yellow. With eggnog. With egg.
Anyway, what were you getting at?
So when I show people this representative, I think to myself, people don't want to know what your dirty laundry is, or maybe they do, but people when they first meet you, they're not there to learn the dark secrets about you. Now, I have some friends that do that. They're like, here, now that I've met you and I don't hate you, here's really personal crap about me. I'm like, great, I don't need to know about your last breakup, bud.
Yeah, despite what Dr. Horrible would have you believe, a good first date is like going out to dinner and not going to the laundromat.
I like it. So in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I have this kind of weird wit that people find entertaining to some degree.
Oh, yeah.
To some degree. So I show up and I smile at people. They appreciate my smile. I leave. That's how I maintain a private life. And then I have a few drinks in me, and I start saying really dark crap.
Well, I guess what I was getting at is that I'm more of like I like to be more of a life of the party all the time kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I'm as funny and witty and good at improv as you are, but I like to think that that I maybe, if you don't mind my saying so, I feel like maybe I'm I like long, big social situations more often than you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have described yourself to me before as a homebody. Like you like to be at home for long periods. Like I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I don't like that part of it. Don't get me wrong. I like things about it, but like I gotta get out of the house. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I gotta go somewhere. And so I don't know. I guess I just I just wanna entertain all the time. You know what I mean? I wanna chat it up. I am at my best when I'm talking, which can be really irritating to people. But I'm the kind of person that is talking and thinking at the same time. And the less I talk, the less I'm thinking, or writing. You know what I mean? I'm very. I guess what I'm saying is I'm a very active personality, and I think that's kind of conducive to being a public figure and having fame. And I guess what I'm saying is, to bring it back around to what we were talking about in the first place, that I could probably live with some of the constant attention. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is some people crave that attention and they're not ready for it. I think to some degree I would be. On the other hand, I think that it is very difficult, and I know it would be for me, not to have my perceptions of things be a little bit skewed. You know what I mean? It would be hard not to start lacking in perspective. Once you're at your top. Yeah. Once you're at the tippy top of your fame and you start to lose that, it's very difficult not to think my life is over now. It's very difficult not to think, or at least that okay, I had my glory days, and now I'm just riding on the coattails of that. You know what I mean? I think it's very difficult not to I think it's hard to develop, and I've just seen this with a lot of stars that were really famous for the period they were famous, and then their TV show's over, or they didn't sell any more albums, or whatever it is, and now it's well, you really should move on and have new hopes and dreams, but you're clinging to the past. And I, being as nostalgic of a person as I am, I think I would have a really hard time not being like that to some degree, although I'm always jumping to the next project. You know what I mean? It's that is my personality, but at the same time, I think it would be hard not to have kind of think too much about first world problems. Where it's oh, boo-hoo, you used to be really, really super famous, and now you're not anymore. How many people would love to be the center of attention and to make a bunch of people happy for any amount of time? And you got to do it, and now you're complaining because it only happened to you for a couple of years. Or whatever, you know what I mean? And that would be the big thing that I would hope that I wouldn't be like, you know what I mean? We're like, if it, because a lot of the time for most people it doesn't last forever. And I would hope that I would be the kind of person, and I'm just not sure that I would be. I guess my fear, full disclosure, is that I would cling to the past too much.
Well, I mean, to some extent, I think that would kind of...
Was that rambly? That was rambly.
Well, maybe. But I think to some extent, it's kind of like depends on what your job would be. Like, if you're famous for doing things behind the scenes, it doesn't really matter how old you are. It's
a good point.
You can't do it anymore. I mean, if you're famous for being young and beautiful...
Or you're thinking about, like, writers and stuff.
Yeah, writers, directors, producers. If you're famous for being the leading actor, if you can't do the jump from the leading actor to the character actor, like, say, Sean Connery, or even, Jean-Luc Picard, because that's his real name. Patrick Stewart. So, if you can't make the leap from...
I mean, I was going to mention Professor Xavier, Vince.
So, if you can't make that leap, then it'd make it really hard for you.
Our heads, for some reason, always go to bald British guys in their late 70s. I don't know why.
One of them's Scottish.
Oh, okay.
Anywho.
But anyway, I don't know. Is it a thing you think about?
I think about it from time to time.
Do you think everybody thinks about it?
I kind of think that anybody that likes entertainment or sees themselves as a person that would work in the entertainment industry would see themselves as being potentially famous. Mm-hmm. So I think that people have these, not necessarily illusions of grandeur, but like an interest in it. They want to see how their life would be if they were a little bit more famous. But I would pose this question to you.
Yeah.
Do you have to be rich and famous to be famous? No.
No, you don't. And
I would hate to be super famous and poor.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because then you don't have any of the perks of that socialite lifestyle. But then you have people that are still intruding upon your life.
Yeah, that's true. On the other hand, maybe to some degree, fame is its own reward, just like art is, where, like, even if you don't make a mint at it, I mean, I guess this is better when there's not paparazzi around, where it's not like you made a mint and then you're an idiot and you lost it all or something, because, there's those stories are everywhere, but where it's like, say, because we live in a different age now where there are people who are getting, some, at least, degrees of fame and are not filthy rich, you know what I mean? Like the rules are changing, the lines are blurring with the internet. There are definitely people that are making six figures or even millions of dollars on YouTube and doing videos. But then there are other people who have say a couple million subscribers that aren't making like a mint, maybe not even six figures, but they're well known. People know who they are, and they're influential, and maybe that's enough for some people, just because I mean, speaking for my own part, and again, I know I'm nowhere near that realm, but like speaking for my own part, I don't do what I do because I'm trying to make a ton of money. I mean, like I've continued doing what I do partly because. I started just because it was fun and I like doing it. But yeah, having people, having an audience, having people that care, is definitely a giant incentive.
I thought I was going to sneeze.
I was wondering what was going on there.
Oh God. Okay. Oh man, that was tough. Sorry, I was trying to interrupt you. I was just going, don't sneeze.
Oh no, I was done. I was waiting for you to contribute.
I think if I could choose a level of fame for whatever it is, I would make the fame for something that I was good at doing. So, and something that I enjoyed doing. I wouldn't want to be famous for something that I was good at and hated. But
yeah, and that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
or I think the worst thing ever is when you become super famous for something that you did on accident, or you know what I mean? Because a lot of the time that's just like maybe an embarrassing thing, or something that you see as like kind of in irredeemable quality, or something.
If I could choose the amount of fame, I would choose the guy that's like niche famous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Who, if I went to a convention, I might find a handful of people that knew who I was.
But you don't want to walk in and the waters part around you, and that's where I'm at. Is like, No, I think it's a lot more fun. And like a lot more. It's just easier for you to live your life, right? It's like you can go to a restaurant, and not everybody recognizes you.
Yeah.
But then having the occasional person that would walk up to you and be like, "Hey, I saw you in this, and you're, you're awesome, and would you sign my autograph?" Like, it'd be cool to happen every now and again.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if I was stupid, crazy famous, I think I would hope anyway that I would like have enough empathy that I could appreciate the individuals that did that. Because how easy is it to start to like get really irritated with individuals because you're just so famous that a ton of people are going to come up to you. Well, yeah, they all know you, but like they're individual people, and like you don't know how you don't know how you've touched them. You don't know what effect you've had on them. So I mean, like, it would be potentially grueling and tedious, but I think I would try to be as gracious about it as I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've met a handful of actors at conventions, and you find the people who are just kind of grizzled, and they're like, yeah, you're here to see me, huh? And then you find people who are just like interested in it, and like Eddie McClintock from Warehouse 13. I met that guy, and he was just super gracious, spent time with each and every fan, and just wanted to chat with everybody. And I think that there's kind of, he's fairly early in this fame thing, and then you look over at somebody like people.
It's interesting how it changes people, yeah. And it's interesting when it doesn't.
And yeah,
that's when it's amazing.
And sometimes I think that famous people. That thought just went away. Sometimes I think that famous people kind of lose perspective.
There you go.
Because they have
keep my number.
they have so many people telling them that their business doesn't stink, and then they have no idea how to act around people, because it's hard to have a bunch of people tell you that you're awesome.
That's right.
And
that's a really important component too. Is how do you keep perspective? And I mean, like, you want to have obviously a healthy amount of confidence.
Yeah, but objectivity is not something that's like prevalent in our culture.
Well, it's difficult. It's not just a cultural thing. I think it's a human condition thing. I think it's really hard not to let 1,000 compliments change the way you look at yourself.
And I think that
if everyone tells you you're horrible, you're likely to start unless you have a lot of willpower, you're likely to believe it. And if everyone tells you that you're brilliant and you do nothing wrong, it's very difficult not to believe that.
I think that a lot of people are kind of prone to both hero worship and like vilifying,
self-deprecation.
And
I'm sorry, you're talking
from the fans' perspective.
Sorry.
So you're going to have people that love and hate you, and then you're going to have people that never talk to you, and you're not going to hear from that group of people that are indifferent. Yeah. You're going to hear from these two groups of people, and
the vocal majorities.
And having your ability to keep things in perspective would just be dead. So I mean, look at Frank Miller, who used to make pretty darn good stuff, and now makes like this really overblown stuff.
Yeah, and what would his work be like if he had never achieved that kind of fame?
Yeah, if people were to say, you know what, you're good. Yeah, make some stuff for us. Then,
or if you like achieve that kind of fame, but somehow you put a wall up and you didn't interact with people, and how would that affect you too? And you look at I guess we go to this a lot too, but I mean the difference between Frank Miller and Alan Moore, where Miller was really public and Moore kind of cut himself off. Well, they both had huge degrees of loss of perspective.
Yeah.
So I mean that's really interesting. I don't think either is the way to go. You know what I mean? I don't mean not to let yourself be really in the public eye. I just mean to try to keep that healthy dose of perspective by still doing normal people things and trying to look at people as normal. And I don't know. I guess individually maybe it's hard to tell how to do that. But I'm just saying that I don't think that the answer is to wall yourself off either.
You know what I think people need? I think famous creators of whatever.
That hat?
I think famous creators of whatever need they need a core group of people that are objective and that are honest with them. And
what I think helps a lot? Making friends with normal people that have nothing to do with your business.
Yeah, that's fair. Who know you outside of things.
Yeah.
But then again, I think that would be even hard to meet them.
Oh no, it would, but
you'd have to take them along with you.
Yeah. Do you think? Let me ask this last question. Is it bad? And this is a really kind of generalized question. But is it bad for wanting that wanting to be famous is a driving force for people?
I don't know if it's bad. I mean, I would say that it's only bad if that allows you to dictate how you live your life, and your desire to be famous makes you make foolish choices. So.
But for some people, like that's just that's the driving force. That's the big goal. Is I want everyone to know me. Like is that that being an inherently self-serving thing? Is that like inherently a bad like a bad thing to want? And I have a hard time saying that it is. I think it's natural to a degree.
I think it depends on how you go about it. So if you're out there killing people, I mean,
yeah,
but if you're out there trying to produce the best content you can, that's one thing. But if you're out there trying to please everybody, that's another.
Well, yeah, but how easy is it for people to say, I want to be famous so that I can make a bunch of people happy, and what they really want to do is just be famous and have everybody worship them? You know what I mean? Like how many people say that, but they don't really mean it? You know what I mean? Where it's really just because when we're talking about fame, what we're really talking about is people's natural desire to want to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, that's a natural thing.
I think it kind of let's take the utilitarian route. What's it hurt?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're famous and people like you and you're not, degrading the culture at large, what's wrong?
Yeah, but I don't know. But
maybe it's a little ignoble.
But I just think it's an interesting question because I think some people, the danger with it, Vince, I think sometimes is that like it can degenerate culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think some people want to be famous so badly that they don't have any standards. They don't care what they become famous for. You know what I mean?
Tom Green.
I just think that, I'm not going to say anybody in particular, but I just think that's that can be kind of sad, and I think it's bad for culture, but I think it's also just kind of sad for them. You know what I mean? It's kind of pathetic, right?
To some extent, I feel like we get that with not all, but some comedians who just go out there and do whatever nasty stuff on television, or especially with like these reality show people who, and that's not true of all reality shows.
No, it's not.
Reviews and reviewers. So that's not true of all.
Not for a network or anything.
Because there's one thing where people go out there and they just air out their dirty laundry. Like people who get on Jerry Springer, surely some of that's put on. I mean,
oh yeah, no, of course.
Who would get on and say that?
And a lot of that's just a shock factor thing. And yeah, it's just about being seen. And I don't know. I think that is kind of inherently negative.
Yeah, I find like that's just a poor choice. Like, how important is fame to you that you're willing to embarrass yourself in front of a country? So, or the world if it's syndicated throughout the world.
And that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I mean, like, if it's like, I've worked really hard to get great at a thing that I think I'm really good at, and I want to become, you know what I mean? Like a person that says, I want to become the like this generation's be all and end all R&B singer. I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't buy. I like that sort of ambition, but when it's so broad that it's just I'll do anything to achieve fame, I don't know. I think that's dangerous.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Kind of like the celebutante thing. You're famous for being famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
well, first of all, it creates terrible role models, and regardless of what context it's put in, there will always be people who worship those people. Who there will always be hero worship for those people. There will always be looked at as role models by people, and that's not good. I mean, you're inherently in a role model position when you achieve that kind of fame.
About a dozen names are coming to mind, but
I know.
The only reason I said Tom Green is because of that Family Guy joke where in Family Guy they make a joke about Tom Green doing anything to get attention. Then he says, "Will you guys like me yet?" So,
well, and I mean,
that's why I said that.
Yeah, and I mean that can be funny. It's just kind of case by case thing, I suppose. Because I think a lot of us, to a certain degree, it's difficult to not like do what you stumble upon that people find they really like. You know what I mean? Like, even if that's not what you intend to do in the first place, or whatever. Like, there's always going to be a certain amount of crowd pleasing, but I think you have to balance that with personal integrity and with continuing to create things of quality.
And I think that there's, like, on the audience's part, there's kind of a morbid curiosity to see whatever it is, even if it is terrible.
Well, and there's also
degrading to the culture.
We didn't talk about this, and I'll just touch on this briefly. But there's also there's also audience ownership. There's also an audience starts to become so enamored with a thing, and so it becomes such a big giant part of their life that they feel like they have some ownership of it.
Which to some extent they do.
To some extent they do, exactly.
I mean, Daryl is a much bigger part of Walking Dead than I think was ever intended.
Mm-hmm.
So because he's so popular on the show. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a whole video there, but anyway. Well, let's go ahead and go on to rants, Vince. And what is your rant today, Vince?
My rant
is your rant that you're too famous?
Oh, God.
Vince is too famous.
Oh, man. One of these fans is going to back up off me.
Don't get too close to the blades.
So, I'm really annoyed with the idea that a non-toy store would get exclusive toys. I'm really annoyed with this idea.
Interesting. Okay.
Reason being, there's a pop figure. I do like these pop figures. I like to collect the characters that mean something.
We did a whole video on it. Move on.
And there's a Punisher exclusive figure that came out in a four-figure set. I mean, not like boxed together, but Walgreens, of all places, gets these 4 figures. Now, there's a Venom. There's a Spider-Man 2099. There's another Spider-Man. I forget which one that is. And then there's a Punisher. And these things are exclusive to Walgreens. Now, it was supposed to be nationwide on the 2nd of February. Supposed to be. And the fact is that
you keep up with these release dates, man.
Well, I mean, because I did a little bit of research into this one thing. And
but you always come to these rants with, like, okay, there was this date that this thing was supposed to come out. I'm like, I never know things like that.
And I read a handful of blogs until I found some dates, and you cross-reference when you find 2 things. You're like, well, now we're getting closer to a trend.
Oh yeah,
but
if you know things about research.
So I didn't spend like hours looking into this thing, but since I work in home health, you should have
seen what I was doing with the tick last week.
I hope it was natural. So
nothing about the tick is natural. Dude, he's 7 feet tall. He claims the costume is not a costume. Anyway,
that's awesome. Anyway. So, I have been to every Walgreens I have passed by. At least twice, maybe even 4 times. And I stop in for a couple minutes, look at their toy section. It's not there.
Not on their website?
Boogie. No, it's not on their website. It is in stores only. You go on eBay and people are buying... So this is going to
be an eBay thing that's like $500, right? Like,
the cheapest you can find, it's about 30. 25 if you're lucky.
Yeah, and then a few months from now, it'll go way up.
And I am just, like, super angry at people when I go online onto eBay and I see people with, like, cases, and they just take, like, they're just lazy, and they're trying to prove that they're bad people by just taking pictures of the boxes full of them that they bought from Walgreens. And I'm like, so you're telling me you went out there and bought 20 of each dang character.
They bought them all.
And now you're going on eBay and selling them high because that's the only way we can get them.
Can I ask you a question?
You're a bad person. I want you to know that.
Can I ask you a question, though? Is your rant not more about people going in, buying stuff up, and then profiting off of it more than the fact that Walgreens is not a toy store? Because after all, Walgreens, I mean, it's small, but they have a toy aisle. Like, I'm not sure why that's a problem.
Well, my problem with it is that...
are you saying that they would have ordered more had they been a Target or a Walmart? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the reason I'm saying this is that you go to Walgreens in this area, around the Kansas City area, and they have made it very apparent that they get mixed boxes. So there are Walgreens that are just getting boxes full of these 4, and then there are Walgreens like the ones around this area that are getting strictly boxes full, like literally boxes full of the Dancing Groot. And that is it. So you'll go to these places and you'll see like the stray Astrid, what do you call that? How to Train Your Dragon figures, and then you'll go to these places, like whatever they have left over. I've been to some of these places. They have a Star Wars, like 3 How to Train Your Dragon, and then like 16 Dancing Groot. And I talked to their manager because occasionally you see them out in the aisle, and I'll say, "Did you guys get any of these things in?" And they say, "We have no control. I've been ordering like crazy, and all we can get is Dancing Groot." And I say, "Are you serious? Like how ridiculous is it to buy an exclusive to generate interest in your place, and then that's just shady to me.
You don't send enough, yeah.
You're like, why are they shipping it around the country?
Are they not making enough? Did they make them like a rare 1 in 5 thing or something?
There are people who are taking pictures on eBay
of full-blown cases.
Full-blown cases of the 4.
Okay, so they're sending random boxes out, and it's a complete crapshoot.
Yep.
That's not right.
And nobody in the KC area has one. So if you're looking, anybody in the Kansas City area, there's nothing in the Northland. There's nothing in Overland Park.
Oh, so you've been everywhere.
Haven't been everywhere. I mean, I'm just saying that. I've been
everywhere.
And they can't order these things. Like people have no idea how to get these in, and then the bad people who are going on the internets and selling them for $40 a piece.
I mean, seriously, we should just throw them in Arkham, man. Those people.
Yeah, and like what I'm saying is it's dishonest. And
it is dishonest.
I realize I'm being a little hyperbolic here, but it really does. It upsets me.
I'd have gone with a different H word. Hilarious.
I was like, well, that word doesn't start with H, the whole, but, WH. Anyway, so it doesn't make any sense anymore.
No, it doesn't.
But that's my rant, because I can't get this Punisher figure, and, I haven't... In reality, because I have this home health job, it's really easy to stop at a Walgreens when you have to go to the bathroom, look in the toy section on your way through, and then you're done. So, it's not been a terrible hardship on me. Just in case there's anybody from my job watching, they're like, he stops at Walgreens so much? Yeah, that's why. If you ever see me at a Walgreens, it's because I had to pee and I was looking at the toy section. Maybe I'm sharing too much.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm largely a private person.
So there I was thinking I was giving away too much about you earlier, and then you were like, so this is my exact routine every time I go to a Walgreens.
See, that's not the darkness in my head that I don't share with. That's not dirty laundry. That's,
hilarious. Anyway, my rant today, Vince, is about ambiguous eBay searches. And this is not an eBay problem. In fact, eBay and really just any search aggregate, but I'm talking about eBay just because this is where I've recently run into this problem. This is an issue with the way we tend to title things, and especially when you have franchises and properties that have been around long enough that the same words keep coming up over and over again, and we keep titling different versions of things the same. And I'll also talk about an article adjective issue here in a minute. So the first thing is, and maybe I've talked about this before, but I'm going to start with things like Star Trek and Enterprise. Because back in the early 2000s when Enterprise was on, you'd go to eBay, and if you wanted to try to find any merchandise from that show, you had to wade through every freaking starship.
Yeah.
Because it's called the Enterprise. What are you going to do? You can't make it more specific by putting Star Trek in the title, especially by third season when we added Star Trek to the show's title. So now it's not even just Enterprise anymore, it's Star Trek Enterprise. But you still would need the word Star Trek, because if you just put Enterprise, then you'd have everything, and there's other things called that because that's a word. So that would become really problematic. In 2009, we made a movie called Star Trek. So if you want to find things just from that movie, good luck. Luckily they made few enough stuff that that wasn't a huge issue. But much of the time, people would put like in parentheses 2009 next to, and then that's what a lot of people call that now, is just Star Trek 2009. What gets kind of interesting sometimes is when this becomes a problem and we reach some kind of a consensus on what we are officially going to call a thing that is too ambiguous to search for. So we'll add something, and we'll add another thing to it, and then eventually everybody is calling it that, so that we can be kind of more consistent with it. And that's happened with a whole bunch of different things, especially when you have like remakes and reboots of things. And actually, the problem is less when you want to find the rebooted thing. The problem more is when you're looking for the old thing, the rebooted thing is the thing that keeps coming up. That's the really irritating thing. Recently, I've run into this issue, and it's actually less that I did, more that an eBay seller did, and this actually worked out in my favor. So I actually shouldn't be ranting about it. I should be more happy about it. But if I were that guy, I'd be like, oh man, I hate how infuriating it is to figure out what you need to call things in a search bar. So, or when people are, in a title, when people are trying to search for something. So, I've been building my definitive tick collection, Vince, and you know what happens when you just type tick in the eBay search bar? Well, there's other things that have to do with real ticks. There are things.
You found a lot of dog stuff.
Yeah, huh? Sure. And you also will find anything that has like storybooks or whatever that have TikTok in the title. That's a thing. And I discovered that there's a lot of that. And here's the thing: I wasn't dumb enough to just type the word tick in a search bar, but what I would always write the tick and assume that, because that's the official title of the thing, and I would do that in order to eliminate some of those other things that would come up. Well, and sometimes you get a few of them anyway, which is the reason that I knew about the other things that would pop up, because the word "the" is a pretty common article adjective, and it'll show up in titles because of other reasons. Okay, so here's the reason I'm bringing it up. There was a seller who put up an auction that I almost didn't find. I don't know how I finally stumbled upon this thing, because I was searching the tick, and his and I won this auction, and his auction was called Ultimate Tick Toy Collection. Guess how many people found it? Because he had a counter at the bottom of it. 15. Woo! So I was really lucky that he didn't put the word "the" in his title, because if he had, I probably would have had some competition. I got it for the opening bid, and I mean, this, I can't wait to show it to you guys when it gets here, this collection.
Are you going to show it all at once?
I'm going to do an unboxing, I think.
Ooh.
It's cool. It's 60 pieces. And it is every tick toy they made in the mid-90s in pristine condition, still in box, plus plus several impossible to find things still in package. I got it for an amazing price. I'm losing my mind over how cool this thing is. And anyway, I'm going to show you guys when I get it, but I kind of felt bad for that guy, because I mean, his buy now was pretty close to the opening bid, so he's probably not too disappointed with the price that I paid. But I'm just saying that more people would have found it, and we might have had a bid war, and we might have gone over even his buy now. And I just I don't feel bad for him that I didn't pay a bunch more money, because I'm glad that I didn't. I got it for a great price. But I'm just saying that isn't that sometimes kind of infuriating? And what I'm ranting about is not anything anyone can really help except for the really ambiguous title thing. But when you get into this kind of thing, it's just trial and error. What are you going to do? We have the same word that shows up in a bunch of things.
Yep. I've been having the same issue with searching things for the shadow or the phantom.
Yeah, because what you'll get shadow boxes.
Yeah, the shadow of the bat. And then, when I type in the Phantom, the thing I see the most is the Phantom Menace. And
because that's got the word "the" in it.
So I finally figured out after a little bit.
eBay has a thing that'll let you exclude words.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Good.
So I'll go in and I'll type in Star Wars, I'll type in toll booth, I'll type in all sorts of things that I can,
the Phantom toll booth. Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, exactly.
You probably have to take the word opera out of there.
Although I am kind of interested in that stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I'll let that slide.
You'll let that slide, yeah.
So, and then you'll find things that, since Phantom of the Opera has become such a big thing in our culture, or even just the world culture, the Phantom of blah, 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 is now a huge thing. So you'll go into the movie section and there'll be a million books. The Phantom of. So, I'm excited.
Or was that, actually, I don't remember what the Phantom of the Opera ripoff was in Goosebumps. I'm trying to remember. Was it Phantom of something, or was it something else of the opera? I think it was Phantom of something, or maybe they didn't do one, and I just maybe R.L. Stine didn't do that, and I just thought he did. I can't remember. It's been years. Anyway,
I find it funny when you find an auction that has a misspelling and they don't think to change it, because you type in Batman villains and you're looking for a Joker, and then they've accidentally crossed the O and the K, and then you go, well, looks like nobody's bidding on this.
Well, you know what the problem is? If they get one bid, they can't change it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's still the rule. I know at one time that was, or is it now?
I think it is.
It's been a while since I've sold. Is it? Because and for those of you that don't know, I used to be a part-time eBay seller, and I used to buy collections of comics and sold a lot. And Vince will tell you I used to do a lot of that. And tell him, Vince. No, and
used to do a lot of it.
Thanks. And see, you heard it here first, folks. And anyway, so if memory serves, the last time I was selling, it was like 2 or 3 years back, and I think the rule was you could change it up to like the last 2 days or something. But I don't remember if that changed depending on whether or not you had bids. But it seems like if memory serves, that there was a time when if you got a bid, you were stuck with the title.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be what's going on with that.
I think that's still the case.
But if those people never catch it, and they never get a bid, well, I mean, they just don't even know that they spelled it wrong. They never looked at it. Another thing that I've noticed lately on eBay. I should save this for a separate rant, but I'm going to mention it anyway because it just came to my brain. One thing that I think is kind of funny, but also irritating sometimes is when have you ever had this? You'll see an auction, and the picture, they accidentally used a different picture than of the item that it really is, because they're using a template and it's the last thing that they put in. And I've done this myself, which is why I know exactly what they did. They're listing several things at a time, and they forgot to change the picture. Well, what sucks is when you like the thing in the picture more than you like the actual auction, and it's not there anymore. I've seen that. Anyway, so
that's funny.
Anyway, I guess that would have made for a great rant because that's all I would have said about it. Well, anyway,
short and sweet.
Well, Vince, thanks for hanging out. This is fun.
Yeah.
And everybody, thanks as always for watching. What do you think? Would you want to be a famous person? How do you feel about fame in general? Leave your comments. So let us know what you think about this topic. I think it's really interesting. Also, if there's something you'd like us to talk about in a future video, leave that in the comments as well. And thanks as always for watching. We sure appreciate it. We'll see you again next week on Geeks Not Nerds. I am Captain Logan.
And I am Vince, reminding you to support your local comic book store.
See you later.
And let me know if you find a Punisher figure.